Dear Boomers, today's lesson comes from A Mythic Life by Jean Houston, where she explores the Percival and the Holy Grail myth as a story of wounding, awakening, and transformation, and it's a mirror of our own personal and collective evolution. So this myth is something we can incorporate into our lives. It's mystical, mythical, reflective, and structured for all of us who are watching today. So, the Holy Grail within. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you want to subscribe also to the Dear Boomers community, that link will be in the description below. And videos will show up here that you can look at also. So, an ancient chalice and a misty forest will be something we can concentrate on as we go on. There is a story, older than memory, older than words, of a young knight named Percival who wandered through a wasteland in search of the Holy Grail. It is a story about a king who was wounded, a land that had become barren, and a question that had to be asked. The question was not, where is the Grail? It was, whom does the Grail serve? And so everybody's always looking for things outside of themselves, but this is a whole different scenario here. We are searching for the Grail within our soul. So Percival's world mirrors our own. The wasteland he crossed was not just a desolate land. It was the reflection of a wounded soul. The Fisher King, keeper of the Grail, was wounded in the thigh, a wound that would not heal. Because the king was wounded, the land itself suffered. Rivers dried up, crops withered, and the people despaired. Jean Houston writes that this ancient myth is our modern mirror. We too live in a wasteland of overinformation, of under-meaning, of cruel government leaders, of noise, pollution, division, and spiritual exhaustion. We see the dehumanization of ordinary work, the decline of family and community, and the distance between the private soul and the public world. The wound of the king is the wound of the people, and each of us in our own way carries that wound, the wound of disconnection from our divine purpose. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? They're always having something to say. Percival's journey begins in innocence and ignorance. He is the fool, the untested seeker, who must stumble, who must fall, and rise again before he can ask the right question. When he first comes to the Grail Castle, he witnesses the mysterious procession, the Grail glowing in sacred light. Yet he asks nothing. Out of fear or reverence or simple confusion, he remains silent. And because he does not ask, the castle fades. The king's pain endures, and Percival's long wandering begins. That is so interesting. How often do we do the same thing? How often do we remain silent when life asks us to speak? The Grail, the source of divine nourishment, appears before us in moments of truth, yet we fail to ask, who suffers and who does this serve? What part of me needs healing? And what part of me needs healing, and how can I heal myself before I can heal anybody else, or before I can channel the divine to heal myself and others? So when Percival finally returns and asks the question, "Uncle, what ails thee?" The king is healed, the land is renewed, and the wasteland blossoms once more. A simple act of compassion, of awareness, transforms everything. And that's what we need to do, is be more empathetic towards all the suffering in the world and to our own suffering. Houston reminds us that each of us is both the wounded Fisher King and the seeker Percival. The Holy Grail is not an external cup, but it is an inner vessel, the human heart capable of receiving divine light. To find the Grail, we must look into our own woundings. How were we hurt? What did those wounds teach us? About love, especially about love, forgiveness, and humility. When we honor our pain as sacred, we become healers not only of ourselves, but of the world. Playing the part of the Grail, Houston writes, invites us to sound depths upon depths of our inner spirit. We discover that abundance is not something we gather from outside of ourselves. It is scooped from abundance, and still more abundance remains. So abundance is not something that is finite. Abundance is eternal. The journey of awakening, let's talk about that. Percival's path is the path of consciousness itself, the journey from ignorance to wisdom, from separation to unity. Each of us walks that path every time we pause, every time we reflect, and awaken to the truth that the divine is not somewhere else. It lives within us, waiting to be recognized, embodied, and shared. When we turn our attention inwardly, when we meditate on our wounds, when we ask the holy question, what does this pain ask of me? We begin to transform the wasteland. We bring life back to barren places, our families, our communities, and our planet, and our government, and the world. So then we look at the Grail ceremony, which we can all do in our own time. In Houston's teachings, participants reenact the Grail rite, R-I-T-E. One person kneels before another who holds invisible arms as a sacred chalice. You can play music, and the chalice bearer becomes the vessels of divine love, receiving and radiating grace. It is a living symbol of what we are all called to be. We are called to be bearers of compassion, channels of healing, receptacles of light. And in that moment, the myth becomes real. The Grail is not lost, and it is here in our willingness to serve, to love, to ask, and to awaken. So as we part ways today, let us think about Percival's question, echoes across the centuries. Whom does the Grail serve? The answer is simple and eternal. It serves love, divine love, and it serves pure love. And when we serve pure love, we become the Holy Grail. We heal the Fisher King within us. We restore the green land of our souls. The waste land blooms once more. So let us now think about the day ahead or the day behind us, and think about restoring our living compassion of the Grail.